They say women are too emotional, but what if our emotions are actually our superpower? Welcome back to Mental Health Matters, the show where we talk about the real things that shape our mental health with no filters, no fluffy. Today's episode is powerful. We are talking about women's mental health in the deep emotional world we are often told to hide. From anxiety and burnout to emotional suppression, expectations, and healing. This one is for every woman who has ever been called too much for simply feeling. I'm your host, Dr. Loveness Mabhunu, and I'm joined by two brilliant women, Ariane Kamba and Vadele Mbounou. Welcome, ladies.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Would you please introduce yourselves?
So, my name is Ariane Kamba, and I'm a holistic wellness practitioner. I've toured and traveled with artists backstage, taking care of their sanity while on the road for many, many years. I've just launched a book and a podcast, Healing the Inner Wounds or Inner Child, Letters to Francesca. And I'm advocating for women to start having the confidence to go after what they want. I created an 8-week program, and I'm very excited to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Vadele Mbounou, and I'm currently a student in international development at McGill University. I'm also a co-founder of Cameroon's Jewels, which is a nonprofit jewelry business that supports African youth with their education. And I'm involved in the community overall and supporting African youth. I was president of an Afro Caribbean club at Dawson College. And I just love to involve myself in this, like, engage in conversations like this that continue to, promote wellness, improve the community, and improve further. Well, I'm a different generation, so, learn and also, learn overall. And that's it for me. Yeah.
Thank you. As women, we are caregivers, we are professionals, we do a multitude of things, and we are also human beings. We have emotions and we feel. However, there are so many misunderstandings when it comes to women because we are expected to be superpowers, superhumans. Why do so many women feel like they have to hide or downplay their emotions?
That's a great question. I believe that we've told our whole lives to that feeling is dangerous, actually,
Mhm.
and that it makes us weak, emotional, that we're too much, that crying, raging, or even saying what we want out loud is unprofessional. It's unbecoming, unladylike, or unstable. And add the race portion to that.
Mhm.
I think we've inherited survival mechanisms from our mothers, grandmothers who suppressed everything just to survive in this patriarchal system. The emotional repression didn't just disappear, it still lives within us and still lives within our nervous system.
So, mostly people would say when you are feeling emotionally deranged and you feel like crying, they'll say, don't cry. But crying isn't a weakness, it's a release. Because for some people, when they cry, they feel better. And sometimes they need someone to lean a shoulder to cry and feel better. However, society has speculations, expectations, and how has society shaped the way women are allowed to express their feelings,
Mhm.
anger, sadness, or even joy? In your experience, Vadele.
I think society has shaped a horrible way for women to express their emotions because it's kind of like a double-sided sword
Mm-hmm.
because women are like looked down for being emotional,
Mm-hmm.
but then we're expected to repress our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, so I think that especially in the capitalistic world that we're in, it's like seen because now in reflection to what would be considered masculinity would be like suppressing your emotion. So now women are encouraged to completely shut down, and then we also devalue the expression of emotion and crying and just discussing, acknowledging emotion in general, and that's pushed aside and seen as completely unimportant. And then it's used to describe women as incompetent for acknowledging those emotions and being able to like feel those. So, and that's more, let's say that would be, I think that's a lot in the professional world. Then now when you move to different communities, I think specifically, well, in for us in the Cameroonian community, um expressing emotion overall is, there's different types of emotions that are more of course allowed, but I think like women are given more of a space to express their emotions
Mm-hmm.
than men are. But I think that because they're given more of a space to express that emotion, they're looked down upon for expressing emotion, which I think is the double-sided sword that I'm talking about.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Ariane, from your experience as a therapist, personal experience, and also your experience working with your clients, what happens mentally if we suppress our emotions over time?
Oh, I always say issues in their tissues. Women are meant to be digestible. And I'm sorry, that doesn't work that way. We are women. We are emotional beings. We have the womb, we have hormones, we have all kinds of things that happen within our bodies that will have us in a cyclic cycle, even monthly, seasonally. So to be told not to have any emotions, suppress them, and then go out to the world and perform, oof, depression, A, exhaustion, B, and our touch of creativity as well. We do bring joy. We also have sadness, but if we aren't able to be who we are, our body will scream. I have women who become hyper dependent, or how is it, hyper over dependent.
Mm-hmm.
I have women who suppress and cry again. If you're not able to have kids for some people, because it creates a lot of stress in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So you will see a lot of things that women are naturally meant to be doing, not able to access. And then they wonder, I have a problem. You'll hear of a story of a woman and her husband who are trying to get pregnant, for example.
Mm-hmm.
They can't for many years. The minute that she releases that,
Mm-hmm.
she's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we
Mm-hmm.
hold so much stress. We have so many things that we as women are meant to be doing, but we can't function properly because our bodies are literally creating havoc from repression and suppression.
That's right. What are your expectations as a young lady who is
Mhm.
actually rising up when it comes to juggling things with your day-to-day roles?
Honestly, I'm not very good. I can't say that I take the time to properly express. Well, I think that I manage my emotions very well. I think that for me, because the pressure is very much like, it's like always being like professional and taken professionally, especially as a young woman. So going into any space, the idea of expressing emotion is like the last thing I want to do. It's either like professionalism, enthusiasm, which can be, I guess that would be considered an emotion, and like, the typical the typical thing. So I, unfortunately, I am following, well, of course it's in different spaces, but when in a professional space, I do follow the put all the emotions aside, and like let's not, even when someone when someone like says, because people will say like out of pocket things, especially as a young woman,
Mhm.
and when people do say that, I handle it in like the best professional way, and then like let's say I'll rant about it after, or like everything, but I'll look the person in the face and smile, a nice little smile, and try to be as nice as possible. But in that moment, I can't express any way that I'm feeling. But
Digestible, right?
yeah,
You're trying to be
exactly, trying to
digestible.
be, yeah, that's true, trying to be digestible, which is, yeah, and that's true. Women are expected to, there's so much more pressure, because let's say if in the same space, if a man expressed the emotion of anger, it would be a lot more tolerated than like a woman expressing that same emotion.
Hmm.
So it's like, as much as I hate the fact that there's a system that I have to follow, but it's like, to work within that system, I have to follow it, unfortunately.
And also, the emotion can be veered for a woman, especially Black
Mhm.
woman. Aggression,
Mhm.
she's aggressive.
Yeah.
No, she's just saying what she's
She's
feeling.
just
And
They
then
exactly.
you'll
think
have a Caucasian and they'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, it's weak and she's crying. It's
Yeah, and
okay
she's
too.
crying.
So there's a weird
There's a, yeah,
double
as
exactly.
standard in every single.
as Black women, we are actually labeled that we are too loud, we are
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
aggressive, that you
exactly.
find some people they feel like we are too powerful for them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And as Black women, also our socialization
Mhm.
teaches us to be, superheroes, that
Yeah.
we have to
Yeah.
carry the
To take care
burden
of
of
everybody.
everyone,
Mhm.
be it your brothers, if
Mhm.
you are an elder, your sisters, your
Mhm.
Hmm.
daddy,
Hmm.
We
your
take,
mom, your grandparent, everyone. If you are a woman, you are a caregiver. If
yeah.
someone gets sick, especially traditionally in our
Mhm.
homes, if someone gets sick, it means you
It's
are the
your
caregiver.
responsibility
It's
to
very
take care of
true.
You
that sick
find that
person.
sometimes our mothers, even if there's not enough food, instead of them eating, they would rather give the children the portion.
The very
Mhm.
And
last.
then they'll pretend like, I'll eat later.
Mhm.
It's
Not
very
because they
true.
will eat later, but because they see there's nothing
The
in. No, they
sacrifice.
Yeah,
want to feed
exactly.
their family first, and then sometimes they are hungry, survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to know, Vadele,
Yes.
like when you were growing up,
Mhm.
you know how our mothers
Yeah.
try to teach us how
Mhm.
to behave,
Yeah.
do chores. And I remember my sisters when we were growing up, sometimes we had a maid,
Mhm.
and my mom during the holidays,
Mhm.
she would give leave or vacation for the maid,
Mhm.
and then we'll be home and she would expect us to do all the
All the
chores and
things.
everything on ourselves. For her, she was trying to groom us to
Mhm.
be better women.
Mhm.
But my sisters, some of them were complaining, like, why do you have to send the maid for vacation?
Yeah.
So I'm curious to
Mhm.
know, now that you are grown up, your mom was trying to teach you things. How do you feel now? Do you feel like you understand better now your mom, what she was trying to do to you, because now you are grown up and you are facing some of these things that you have to be a superhero for everyone, and
Yeah.
sometimes some days you feel burnout when you try to
Yeah.
please everyone and do
Yeah.
everything for the family.
Yeah.
Maybe you joined your mom as well to be part of that.
Mhm. But I think, everything you're talking about, it's really because being an eldest daughter from an African household, it's like I had to unlearn a lot of things. Like what you're talking about, of like hyper dependence, taking care of everybody, taking on the burden of everything. It's like, it's not a good thing to learn at all. And I learned it through a lot of bad burnouts, and like
Mm.
taking on, like overestimating, like, and like, I'm human, there's only so much I can do. And even till today, I still, like, overestimating myself is a good thing, but then like sometimes I do it to an unnecessary extent. And it's just, I think it's from like a lot of the things that you were saying. I grew up with like my grandmother and my mom telling me all these things, like, oh, you should be the last person to eat, you need to serve everybody first before you eat.
Mm.
And like, you always need to be like, to try to make sure, even if we're like hosting something or going, make sure that everybody gets everything that they want, so that if there's something left, then you can take something, but if there's nothing, then you don't then you don't complain. And then obviously there's my siblings. I'm the one, like, it's like, oh, you have to be the one to like do this and do that. But I think that over time, like, as I've like unlearned a lot of like the things that like because I'm growing up and everything, and like I figured out what works and what doesn't. So I obviously had to unlearn like the kind of like taking care of everyone and taking everything on, because that's mentally that's very draining.
Mhm.
Physically that is extremely draining, and it just doesn't work for you. At some point you need to like begin to prioritize yourself too, because a lot of like in just women are like the way they're taught in the community is not to like this, like the idea of self and individualism in this context more positive,
Mm.
and like being able to prioritize yourself, your mental health, your physical health, everything. You're always last on the list to everybody else. And then when you put yourself first, it's like you're the villain for doing that, especially as a woman, or especially as the eldest daughter or the mother. That's like, why
Mm.
would you do that? Why would you put yourself first compared to anybody else? Or why would you prioritize yourself in the situation? And it's like, we need to stop villainizing women when they decide to finally take care of themselves, their body, their mind. And that's all okay. And I've recently learned that, and like starting to prioritize myself and everything, and also unlearning some of like a lot of the things that were passed down. But I think that like I think what I could take from that that's very positive is just still the idea of community and the importance of taking care of each other. Because as much as yes, there was the burden of like, okay, you do this and you do that, like it's still the idea of like we all take care of each other. Like yes, there's like the pressure of your role is like bigger and your responsibility is this and this, but at the end of the day, we're still all connected. We all need to support each other and do things for each other.
Yes, that's
Mm-hmm.
important.
Yeah.
So let's be real, ladies,
Mm-hmm.
because we want to bring awareness, especially to men out there
Mm.
who may not understand women biologically because of some changes that we go through,
Mm-hmm.
and they will not understand what's going on. Be it we talk about menstrual period, we talk about pregnant, we talk about breastfeeding. For those who have the experience, they will know and understand what I mean. We also talk about perimenopause, we talk about menopause and different types of the experiences we go through. All this brings hormonal imbalances that will lead us to act or have mood swings or go on the south side that sometimes people around us may not even understand, like she was okay 2 minutes but now the mood just changed. So we want
Mhm.
to bring awareness to men about the experiences that we go through, because these hormonal imbalances and experiences affect us mentally and also affect our mental well-being.
It affects us mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually,
Everything.
financially, and every kind of Ali you think of.
Yes, everything.
We're so used to being containers for everyone else's energy. And to bring onto your touch, we forget about ourselves or we are forgotten. And
Mm-hmm.
that is the hardest thing I think for women
Mm-hmm.
is that we need to be seen, we need
Mm-hmm.
to be heard, we need to be understood, or else we carry a lot of rage. We rage. If by the time like you suppress from that age and you're in your 20s, right? So imagine into your 30s and the 40s and your 50, like by the end of I'm in my 40s, by 40s and 50s, there's something that happens when something happens to me. I had a traumatic experience and not being seen. I went into more of a rage because it's like, I cannot be all this for you guys. I can't even stand up for myself right now. Right. So you
Mm-hmm.
like push back and, oh, she's crazy. What's happening? Right. No, I am a human having a human experience right now. And
Yeah.
I'm also a woman who needs to be seen.
Yeah.
And with that comes all the hormonals that we face that men don't face. Women have been taught to go at it and like go get that corporate job, go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we can do it and we can probably do it better than men, but that's not really typically our role. We're not physically fit for that. We will burn out because the cortisol, that extra, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Men will have testosterone when they do that, but for them, it's like a go giver. They will continue on pushing. Women in them, it will break down
Mm-hmm.
the line.
Mm-hmm.
So physically, we can't handle as much as man, but hormonally, we definitely cannot handle all of this excess of hormones that's built up in our system. We
Mhm.
need to have rest periods, and we have a culture that does not allow that.
Mhm.
Oh, she's weak. I went over here. And within women,
Mhm.
they bicker and they hate on each other now.
Mhm.
If you like, I'm tired. Oh, I went and did that. You could do it, blah, blah, blah. And if you're like listening to your body, they'll hate on you for listening to your body.
Mhm.
They'll be like, I went and did that. I'm like, well, you should rest. You could rest too. It's looked as weakness.
Mhm.
It's looked as how much more can I bear? Right.
Mhm.
And we need the sisterhood to start being having empathy for each other would be it,
Mhm.
because we all go through the same things,
Mhm.
but some of us are able to adapt a lot more better than some other women. We're not all the same body, we're all not the same culture, we're not all the same, and so we will have different needs, and we're not one fit.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes
Yeah,
sense,
that
because I
Yes.
kind
makes
of went around the
that
block with that, and I could keep on going. Sorry.
no, but that makes
Yes,
sense.
that's
That makes
important.
sense.
We need the sisterhood circle,
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
own time just to talk about our experiences, just to release our emotions because it's really very helpful. Vadele, do you think it's important to rage, to have those tantrums and release or empty your emotions when you feel like you, yeah.
I think that it's important like to feel that, acknowledge the rage that you have and release it. It
Mhm.
depends on in which way you release it. Now that becomes the problem.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's you need to, like, every emotion that you process, you need to feel it, acknowledge it, and
Mhm.
make sure that you express it in the way that is best, like, fit for you or whatever. But I think, like, in terms of, like, trying to, like, let's say, make men understand, like, our cyclical cycles, like, you don't, like, we're going through, like, a constant, like, there's no point in which there's just, like,
Yeah.
a normal flow. It's like you're going from ovulation to this to that to this,
4 seasons
and
in one
then
day.
like all, and it's just like either, like, I'm just getting, like, a shoot of hormones, or like there's just I'm on my period and everything, or my cramps are killing me, or my back is killing me, or like everything just hurts, like I don't want to be extremely productive today, or I just don't feel like talking. It's just like, that's okay. It's not weakness. It's just like a biological thing that, like, we just need to accept women go through. I think that I think so, of course men have, like, acknowledged it, but it's still like a pain that's being, like, compared or trying to be seen as, like, laziness, or find some kind of equivalent to another man that, like, can be justified and, like, push women to, like, do more during that time.
Mhm.
And it's just like, no, like, stop doing that. That's not
You know, as
Oh,
women,
sorry.
we are being labeled that we talk too much. They say, mostly women, they say like 1,000 words in few seconds
Hmm.
as compared to men.
Mhm.
And then, so sometimes you find some women will suppress
Mhm.
their emotions and their feelings that they won't say it openly because of
Just own
that
it.
fear
Just
of
own
being
it.
labeled, to be stereotyped. So to men, stop calling women crazy, but start listening, because as we are saying, sometimes biologically they may be going through hormonal imbalances in their body, and then they are acting that way to release it. And once they release it emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, it will help them. So that's my advice. Start listening. Don't label us.
Supportive.
Yes.
Support.
Yeah.
We
Be
need the support
supportive.
system.
Yes.
Mm.
And also to women as well, when you see your sister behaving, having tantrums,
Mhm.
don't stigmatize them. Reach out to her, to them, and start listening and help them. So, do you think perfectionism in women is a trauma response? Because sometimes we aspire to do perfect for our families, for our friends, even in workplaces.
I feel it definitely is. If you look, even the 50s and 60s, how women used to all be like, ooh,
Yes. Oh,
perfect.
I,
And those were the years, then you had the 70s revolution,
mm-hmm.
and then the 80s and 90s, and then we have the African cultures too, which is
Which is
completely
a whole
different.
different like
It's
thing.
a whole ball game. But
Mm-hmm.
over the years, I find it funny that women still haven't really fully claimed themselves. And so it's hard to change a whole view of us when we haven't really claimed ourselves because we're still suppressing, we're still repressing.
Mm-hmm.
Where if we do this, oh no, I'm going to be told this, we'll be reprimanded in some ways, we're not digestible. And if I rest, oh no, I'm seen as weak or lazy. Or if I don't perform, or my kid's school and I'm not there with all the kids' cakes and the birthdays and all the duties that we're meant to feel, uh, it's like we become survival mode. We're on survival mode. So we haven't actually claimed ourselves.
Wow, that's
That's a
so
great.
powerful
That's a
that we
great.
haven't claimed ourselves. So women need to claim ourselves. And Vadele, do
Yeah.
you aspire to do perfectionism?
I unfortunately I am a perfectionist.
And you get burnout, I'm sure.
And it's well, obviously I get or I used to get more burnouts, and then now obviously I'm trying to connect more with myself and not get burnouts because they're not fun. And I think that the perfectionism is more just like everything needs to like fall in place exactly the way it needs to be, exactly the way I want. And then when it doesn't like happen the way that like I've envisioned it to happen, it's like mine goes. But now I'm just like learning to just like you can plan, you can do everything you can, and then even if it doesn't go exactly the way you want, like still like acknowledge what has been achieved, acknowledge everything that's happened, and like just be happy with the outcome in general. And perfectionism, it's definitely I think like you said, it is a trauma response because like like when growing up, like my mom, we would make like a meal, or there was like a specific way she wanted to cut like this one vegetable. It would barely take part like in the full meal, but if I cut it like the wrong shape, she would just take it out, like start again. No, like let's throw that in the freezer. Or if it's like I cooked the meal and it's like it didn't come out like the way that it should be, it's like okay, we have to remake it again. And then I'm like, oh, okay.
But if she was by herself, she'll take it.
Yeah,
But it's
that's
like we have
true.
to remake it again. So I think, but I part of that is just I think it's that, but it's also just like me as a person probably. But now I feel like I'm just like trying to be more in sync with myself, and just like she said, like I think it's very important connecting to your woman, just connecting to your womanhood in general, and just yourself, and being at peace just within and accepting everything that you are, and trying to reflect that through the things that you do is very important. And I think that going through that journey and still being on that journey has like brought me more peace. Yeah.
I was going to say, it brought you more peace. Would you say when you started leaning towards yourself, there were people who were like, oh, who does she think she is?
Mhm.
Or she's changing. I don't know if I like this person this way.
Yeah, it's really like it was. Yes, I feel like when there was like less like people pleasing and
Mm-hmm.
more focusing on myself, even going back to like being the eldest daughter and like being a woman
Mm-hmm.
in general, it's like it's just trying to prioritize yourself and prioritize your own goals, and like just putting everybody else aside for a second. You're a bit demonized for that.
Exactly.
And I did notice that like when I was um I did notice that when I was trying to just engage more just with myself, trying to just be my own center, and then trying to just be more in sync, it was even like a lot of people around me were just like, oh, she's changing, she's this, she's that, and everything. And it's just like I just didn't really care. I was just trying to push that. At first, it was like getting to me. And then I was just like, well, letting it get to you kind of disrupts your journey and the
Mm-hmm.
goal of this journey. So there's no point like reflecting on it and trying to like overthink it all.
So, culturally speaking, we are socialized as women,
Mm-hmm.
especially the African culture,
Mm-hmm.
to be humble, to be docile, to
Yeah.
be passive, and
Mm-hmm.
not speak out loud, and to
Yeah.
be quiet.
Yes.
So, from your experience of what you are saying now, that you find your voice and you find yourself,
Mm-hmm.
could it be that you say it's because now you are in the diaspora, it helped you to regain yourself or reclaim yourself?
Yes, definitely. It's definitely because I'm in the diaspora. I feel like even I've not to like I love my community and everything, but even like there's some of the women who are outspoken who really did like inspire me, but I feel like a lot of the because like it's socialized that women you don't talk too much, like don't over talk in the conversations, and don't like your voice is not that important either. But like I feel like seeing women in like the few women in my community who were very outspoken, not afraid to disagree, give their opinion, was really like it's not that bad to like have a voice. And then from there I just started slowly expressing my own opinion and my own voice and just saying like, no, I don't like this, I don't want this to be this way or that way or this or that. And then like at first it came as like a shock to people for like, did you just say no? Like, did you just disagree with me? Are you voicing out your own opinion? That's crazy, especially being younger too. It was taken as like disrespectful, but it's like, I'm not disrespecting you. I'm just like, this is what I think, and then this is what I want to be done. And then it was just, then, of course, I got that reaction of like surprise and like, oh, disrespect and everything. But it's just like, well, that's too bad. It's like you feel disrespected, but that was not that's not the case. It's just me expressing my voice. Yeah.
So, as women, we have a voice,
Mm-hmm.
we can speak. But as we are saying, there are a lot of misunderstanding. So, from your experience as a therapist, what are the healthy ways women can start expressing their emotions without guilty or fear?
Without feeling guilty or fear of feel woman. If you're an embodied woman,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're going to have fear of speaking your truth because you have accepted who you are. As I mentioned, a lot of women hasn't
Mm-hmm.
tapped into their inner self. We have a womb for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
We create life, we bring life, we have our intuitive side that talks to us all the time. I can go into energetic beings, how we have things that are, I feel, supernatural to men, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because of our society shutting us down, we've blocked a lot of ourselves, which creates an infertility, endometriosis, a lot of uh, even fibroids, um, exhaustion, mental exhaustion. So, somatic movements is something that's good, getting out of the head. Um, Creative outlets for women is very important. Men are really the go getters, but for women, we all have a certain talent that we should focus on. It is our outlet, whether it's drawing, whether it's singing, dancing, even waking up in the morning and taking 10 minutes for yourself before you start anybody else. We have it backwards. Like once you're fine, everybody else is fine. But we put ourselves last, everybody's fine, and they're not even thinking about us at the end either.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're like, that's why you'll see a lot of people, oh, she's crazy, she's crazy. It's like, no, I gave you my all, and now I'm asking, is this burnout, right? So we need to start, we need to reprogram ourselves to be like, I matter, I'm important. You need me, so I need me.
Exactly.
They always say the right, proper way of giving in the family, the woman should actually take care of herself first, the son, then the husband. We do the husband, the kids, then the woman.
Mm-hmm.
And some people will do the kids and they'll forget about the husband eventually. But the woman should always be first. Go get your hair done. Feel good about yourself at least for the 10 minutes so that you can give life to that day. Because when we do feel good, we're like unstoppable. When our hair is done, we're unstoppable. When our makeup's done, we're unstoppable.
Yeah.
When we've had a minute, we're feeling good. So bring that into that space. It needs 10 minutes. That's it. I have friends who are like, oh, I don't have time. Like, you need to make time, or the time will take you away from that.
Yeah.
Your health matters. Everything. Everything is connected.
That's right.
And if they call me selfish, hell, I'm okay with that. I own that.
Yeah.
I'll be a better person, trust me,
Let
to
me
be around.
selfish.
Yes.
It's like, let me be happy and selfish.
Yeah.
Be myself.
Yeah.
No, but when you
Reclaim
see
and find
women happy,
myself.
we give, we're happy,
Yeah.
the whole world changes.
Yeah.
We really can change a whole room
Yes.
up. So if you're miserable, everybody's miserable. You always hear, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
No.
So go get happy, 10 minutes. Do you eat? Because then you'll be like, I'm running, I haven't eaten, I didn't have time, I had to feed the kids or whatever. And now you're on fumes. We tend to run on fumes. And this is the breakdown of the system. Your body is a car.
Mm-hmm.
You can't replace it in 5 years, though. We can't go lease a new one.
Definitely.
That's right. Vadele, what advice would you give to a woman who is listening right now, who is feels overwhelmed or emotionally drained?
I think that I would tell her to step back. Just take a step back from everything and everyone and taking care of everything, and just think of what you feel in the moment, and just like reflect on what you feel and what you can do or start doing in your daily life to take care of yourself, whether physically and mentally, and begin prioritizing yourself. Make space for yourself, and then you can, even if you can take care of everyone else better if you're well, but if you're not, then you can't do that. And it's not just about being able to take care of everyone else in a better way, it's also being able to take care of yourself completely. And it's important, you're important, so maybe like everyone else comes before you, but you're also important and you need to be acknowledged, and first it begins with acknowledging yourself.
That's right.
You're
Ariane,
the
what?
ground,
Yeah.
right? How are you going to nurture anyone else if you can't nurture yourself?
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly.
Ariane, what's your advice to a woman who feels silenced?
Oh, that's a great question. I think we've all felt silent at one point. I know I have. Um, coming here as a woman, as an African, as an immigrant, I feel like the community silenced me, or even my parents silenced me. Oh, you have to, you're Black, make sure you look good, make sure you look polite. And then, oh, you're Black, make sure that you're kind of heard, not seen.
Yeah.
So, how did I move past this? I started writing, to tell you the truth. My creative outlet with that was writing. I started writing at a young age. I just did my first book, by the way. But I started writing because I was silenced. So there is a way to externally find a voice, whether it's in drawing, like my younger sister, she's an artist, so she draws. I know another one is through music. So find what it is that you like. If it's music, maybe communicate through music. Find that little ficelle, as we say in French, une ficelle. So that by little, by little, by little, you will open yourself up to where you feel comfortable, right? Because it's not an overnight success. If you've been silent your whole life,
It's not
then
just
all of a sudden, you're not just going to be out there public speaking.
That's right.
You could end up screaming, though. You can be enraged because you're carrying too much and you've been shrinking yourself for so long. So you need to feel seen, and the ways and things that matter to you. Feel seen through your creativity, I think, is the best way if you've been silenced for a long time. You're not too much. You've just been shrinking, and that's okay. Where are you shining? Focus on that.
Can you tell the audience about your book and where they can find it?
Oh, so it's on Amazon. It's called Heels, Wheels, and Bad Deals.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on bed rest in February, exhaustion and other things that happened. And for me, not to go crazy, and I always said I wanted to write a book. So I decided to write something that I knew about, which is the car business. I'm in finance as well as a wellness therapist. And so I wrote a book originally for women
Mm-hmm.
to find their confidence when they're purchasing a car, because every woman who would come into my office would be so dependent on a brother, an uncle, a friend, a neighbor. And I'm like, girl, this is your car. You need to be able to know what options you want. We've been so desensitized or so shrunken
Mm-hmm.
into thinking we need to ask everyone else for the car that we're purchasing with our own money. And so it's kind of like the wheel of life meets the buyer, and to give you the confidence to do what's right. I've been getting a lot of feedback that this book actually can be for anything else. I had a friend, she's like, I went to the bank and I needed something and they were giving me a certain answer, and I remembered your book and I used this tip and I got what I wanted and I felt so good. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what it's about. So a little bit of the wheel of life meets confidence, meets you doing what's best for you and not asking for anybody else.
Mm. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, to all men, women need your support. The wife, your sister, your daughter, when they are expressing their emotions, when they speak out, or even when they have tantrums, stop calling them crazy. Start listening. They need your support. And to all the women, your mom, your sister, your daughter, they need your support. When they reach out to you, start listening and find ways to help them. They may need a circle. Don't ignore them. And to women as individuals, love yourself, take care of yourself, take care of you because you matters. If you have ever been told that you are too emotional, too sensitive, too much, this is your reminder. Your emotions are valid. Your story matters. And your healing is powerful. Follow us for more real talk. Share this with a woman who needs to hear it. And let's change the conversation around women's mental health together. Ariane Kamba,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for your insightful contributions and for coming to our podcast. Vadele Mbounou, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
contributions and for coming to our podcast. And we also want to acknowledge our sponsors and every woman who is listening and out there. Take care of yourself. Until we meet again in the next episode for Mental Health Matters. You are not alone, and goodbye.
Thank you.